Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, will be deposed. And I suspect that that might be making Ryan Reynolds extremely nervous, and I'll tell you why. They want the judge to agree to an attorney's eyes only designation to protect, as they term it, highly confidential information that could destroy the careers of the third-party people that are involved.
Ryan Reynolds fired from Marvel say it ain't so. Yup. The man behind the Merc with a mouth is reportedly out after a major behind-the-scenes controversy first. There's the $400 million lawsuit involving his wife Blake Lively and director Justin Baldoni, and then a joke in Deadpool 3 that apparently crossed the line. Marvel allegedly cut the joke, Reynolds fought back, and Disney, well, they weren't having it now. Rumors say Disney is phasing him out, reducing his creative control, toning down Deadpool's edgy humor, and even considering a multiverse Deadpool replacement. Some insiders claim Marvel could introduce a new Deadpool from another timeline, one that fits Disney's family-friendly brand.
Okay, y'all, grab your snacks because the Marvel universe just got a whole lot messier. And this time, it's not some multiverse madness, it's real-life drama that has everyone shook. Word on the street is, Ryan Reynolds just got the boot from Marvel. Yep, Deadpool is dead. And the gag is, it wasn't even really his fault. Apparently, Ryan effed around and found out in the worst way possible. And it's all connected to a spiraling mess involving his wife, Blake Lively, director Justin Baldoni, and now, yes now, it's dragging in none other than his best friend. Or should we say former best friend, Hugh Jackman. Whew, the drama is thick, and Ryan, he's pointing fingers, but not at his wife. Nope, the smoke is all aimed at Hugh, and we need to talk about it. So let's unpack this. Ryan Reynolds is reportedly livid with Hugh Jackman. Why? Because when Ryan got fired, yes, fired, from his iconic role as Deadpool, he expected Hugh to be right there beside him, riding into battle like Wolverine with claws out, defending his buddy. But instead, Hugh was silent, dead silent. He didn't lift a finger, didn't even send a tweet, nothing. And that, according to insiders, has Ryan absolutely heartbroken. But what actually happened to get Ryan fired? Here's the tea. The drama originally wasn't even about Ryan. It all started with his wife Blake and director Justin Baldoni. Apparently things got nasty behind the scenes between them, and Ryan, being the dutiful husband, jumped in to defend Blake. Admirable? Sure. Smart? Maybe not, because that little decision might have cost him his Marvel contract. And y'all, this wasn't just any gig. We're talking about multi-millions in Marvel money gone. Now, if you're wondering why Disney, yes, the Disney overlords, would go this far and drop one of their biggest stars, let's talk about the real puppet master here, the morality clause. For those who don't know, every actor who signs on with Disney or Marvel has to sign one of these squeaky clean morality clauses. Basically, if you bring any sort of scandal, shame, or bad press to their doorstep, they can legally show you the door. And that's exactly what they did to Ryan. And guess what? Disney recently tightened that clause. Now, even just causing offense to the community can be grounds for termination. Talk about vague, right? Basically, they can kick you out for anything that makes them look bad. And in Ryan's case, they apparently had enough. But it doesn't stop there. Oh no, Justin Baldoni didn't just let it go quietly. He went to court. He filed a motion accusing Disney and specifically Ryan of bullying him using their platform. He even claimed that the character Nicepool, a Deadpool variant, was created just to mock him. And the receipts? He's got 'em. His legal team sent a letter to Marvel boss Kevin Feige and Disney CEO Bob Iger alleging that Ryan personally took jabs at him in the script. Remember that line? Where in God's name is the intimacy coordinator? That was supposedly a dig at Justin. Even the line about snapping back after having a baby and feminism. According to Justin, it was all a calculated hit. His legal team wants Disney to cough up all documents related to this supposed smear campaign. They're even hinting at civil extortion. Yikes. And Disney? Baby, they do not like lawsuits. They didn't even wait. Ryan was out faster than you can say chimichanga. But get this, it turns out Ryan already had some tension with Disney before this whole mess. Reports say he was charging Marvel $30 million for his role in Deadpool vs. Wolverine. Yes, $30 million. And that wasn't even his biggest payday. He reportedly got $20 million for Deadpool 1, even more for Deadpool 2, and a slice of the profits on top. Let's just say, the execs were not thrilled. So when this scandal with Blake and Justin hit, that was the final straw. Now, when news first broke that Ryan might have been fired, fans didn't want to believe it. One insider even tweeted, "Heard Ryan Reynolds got fired by Marvel for using Deadpool and Wolverine to mock and bully another director. Hope that's true. Finally, no more Green Lantern jokes that stopped being funny 10 years ago." Ouch! Still, some fans thought Ryan would skate by. He is Deadpool after all. But Disney? They don't care who you are. If you bring them shame, you're gone. And here's where it gets even messier. You'd think, given all this, Ryan would be mad at his wife, right? She's the one who had beef with Justin. She's the one who dragged him into this in the first place. But nope, he's not mad at Blake. He's mad at Hugh Jackman. Apparently, Ryan feels like Hugh completely abandoned him. Not only did Hugh refuse to speak up when Ryan was getting dragged, but he's been ghosting Ryan ever since. And Ryan, he feels betrayed. They weren't just colleagues. They were brothers. Ryan and Hugh were inseparable for years. Best friends, always hyping each other up, working together, teasing each other in interviews. But now, it's like Hugh never knew him. And honestly, we get it. Hugh probably didn't want to risk his own career by jumping into this PR disaster. But to Ryan, it feels like the ultimate stab in the back. And just when you think the drama ends there, oh, there's more. The fans have been digging. And guess what they found? More skeletons in Ryan and Blake's closet. Let's talk about their wedding. Y'all, they got married at Boone Hall Plantation in South Carolina. Yes, a plantation. A site tied to slavery, human suffering, and historical trauma. And they thought it was cute.
In 2012, Blake and Ryan did indeed get married at a plantation in South Carolina, which features 9 slave cabins and an area called Slave Street. It was owned by the Boone family, who enslaved around 100 people, forced them to live in these cabins, and made them work on the plantation. It was then taken over by the Horlbeck family, who at the time purchased both the plantation and the enslaved people. The enslaved people were then forced to work for the Horlbeck's brick company, and it's recorded that each enslaved person was forced to make 1 brick every 3 minutes for 365 days a year. Boone Hall has 9 slave cabins in total, which have been preserved so that people can come along and be educated about the horrors that Black Americans faced.
Social media did not forget. Fans dragged them hard for romanticizing such a dark part of history. To be fair, Ryan did eventually apologize. He admitted it was a horrible mistake and said they even got remarried at home later to make up for it. His words, "It's impossible to reconcile what we saw at the time with what we saw after. It was a giant F-king mistake." And honestly, good on him for owning it. But like he said, shame does weird things. And the internet never forgets.
All of this brouhaha around Blake Lively right now made me want to revisit the plantation wedding controversy because I don't think it's been explained well in the media. So Blake and Ryan got married at the Boone Hall plantation in South Carolina in the United States. This plantation appeared in the film The Notebook as the main character Allie's family's summer home. Now, plantations in the USA and other former British colonies in the Americas have a dark history. To make a long story short, in the early 17th century, English settlers were offered large plots of land as a reward for exploring these uncharted territories, which were the Americas. These plots of land were cultivated to produce agriculture and eventually became plantations. To maintain the plantations, settlers bought people from West Africa and trafficked them to the Americas, but they were enslaved and used as free manpower to enrich the settlers. After the Civil War in America, the plantation system essentially collapsed, partially because of the end of all that free labor. Now, in the modern era, some of the plantation homes that remain were transformed into historic sites for people to visit and learn about. This one, which was Thomas Jefferson's home. Dr. Edda Fields Black, professor of history at Carnegie Mellon University, states that a plantation must interpret the entire history of all of the people who lived on the property. In other words, don't just show this without any discussion of this, talk about the full history. However, she also said that this shouldn't deter anybody from appreciating the antebellum architecture of plantation homes or the gardens surrounding them, because it may provide a chance to spotlight the beautiful work of the enslaved crafters that has been largely erased from architectural history. So yes, go ahead, look and learn about plantations. But should you get married at one? Some want the antebellum aesthetic without having to think about what might have gone into building that aesthetic.
But y'all, that's not all. Fans didn't stop there. They started pulling receipts on Blake too, and it is not cute. Turns out, Blake was real cozy with Harvey Weinstein before his downfall. Yeah, that Harvey. And she never distanced herself, not even when the stories started coming out. In fact, she defended herself, saying she never had a bad experience with him. That's it, like, girl. What? Then she went and starred in a Woody Allen film, Cafe Society. This was after all the disturbing allegations against him were already public. And not only did she take the role, she defended him, praised him, called him empowering to women. Whew, the irony is suffocating. And when Woody Allen's own son, Ronan Farrow, published that explosive article calling out the industry for enabling his dad, what did Blake do? She said she hadn't read it. She didn't want to speak on something she didn't know about, ma'am. So where were we? Oh, right. Blake Lively defending Woody Allen like he's some feminist icon, while the rest of the world was side-eyeing her so hard they almost sprained a retina. Now, listen, Hollywood has its fair share of problematic pairings and tone-deaf decisions. But Blake? She really outdid herself with this one. This wasn't just a one-time slip-up. This was a full-blown PR disaster on a platter kind of moment. And instead of owning up, instead of saying, you know what? Maybe working with a man accused of abusing his stepdaughter wasn't the best career move, she went full spin mode. In an interview, she said, "It's amazing what Woody has written for women. I could only know my experience, and my experience with Woody is he's empowering to women. Girl, be serious." The backlash was swift and loud. People weren't buying it. And Blake? Well, she tried to move on. Tried to keep posting her cute fashion pics and witty Instagram captions like the internet didn't just pull her entire career into the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. But this is where it gets real messy for Ryan, because while all of Blake's scandals were blowing up in the background, he was the one who ended up taking the fall. He stood by his wife, defended her honor, got dragged into a legal war with another director, and now he's unemployed, hurt, and watching his best friend Hugh Jackman sit on the sidelines in total silence. Like, imagine your whole world is falling apart, and the one dude you thought would ride with you till the end credits just disappears. Ryan is said to be devastated, not just because he lost Deadpool, which, let's be honest, he built from the ground up, but because Hugh, the man he once called family, dipped the second things got hard. And look, we're not going to pretend this industry isn't cutthroat. Hollywood loyalty is about as solid as a Netflix cancellation schedule. But for Ryan, this one hurt. Let's not forget how close they were. Remember all those cute back and forths, the interviews, the jokes, the feud they played up for fans? It was all fun and games, but behind the scenes, there was a real friendship there. The kind that's supposed to survive scandal, backlash, and even a Disney firing. But when things got ugly, Hugh hit mute. Sources say Ryan tried to reach out. Texts, calls, messages through mutual friends. Hugh didn't respond. Not even a, "Hey man, sorry about what's happening." Nada. And that silence, it's louder than anything else right now. To make matters worse, Hugh's own career is thriving. He's already moved on to new projects, staying squeaky clean, collecting paychecks, doing press tours, and quietly removing himself from everything involving Ryan. Fans noticed too. One Redditor said, "We all thought Ryan and Hugh were the dynamic duo, but turns out Hugh's loyalty ends where the lawsuits begin." It's giving self-preservation. And honestly, we can't even blame Hugh. He's got a reputation to protect, roles to keep, and Disney contracts of his own. If jumping into Ryan's mess meant jeopardizing his future, maybe staying quiet was his only real option. But still, for Ryan, it stings. And fans are torn. Some are dragging Hugh for being a fake friend who abandoned his boy the minute things got uncomfortable. Others are saying Ryan should have known better than to expect anyone in Hollywood to risk their bag for someone else's scandal. And let's be real here. Ryan Reynolds might be down, but he's far from out. He's still got production deals, brand partnerships, Hello, Aviation Gin, and Mint Mobile, and more fans than a Marvel panel at Comic-Con. But Deadpool? That role was personal. It was his baby, his comeback story, his legacy, and now it's gone. All because he tried to defend his wife. All because he got messy in a legal feud with a director who wasn't backing down. All because Disney, with its moral police contracts and razor-sharp image obsession, decided he was the problem. Now the question is, what's next? Will Ryan clap back? Will he spill the tea in a tell-all? Will he come for Disney? Will he finally confront Hugh publicly? Because right now he's being shockingly quiet, which, let's be honest, is so unlike him. Ryan's known for being witty, quick with the jokes, and never missing a beat. But this silence, this eerie calm, It's almost scarier than if he'd gone on a Twitter rampage. Maybe he's strategizing, maybe he's licking his wounds, or maybe, just maybe, he's realizing that in Hollywood, no one really has your back. Not the studios, not the press, not even your best friend. Fans are already speculating on a comeback. Some say he might pivot into more serious roles. Others think he'll do a scandalous podcast interview and spill everything. And there are even whispers that he and Blake might be laying low to prep for a PR reset. Because, honey, if anyone knows how to spin a narrative, it's this couple. But for now, it looks like Ryan Reynolds is just another casualty in the war between Hollywood image and real-life mess. Betrayed by a friend, dropped by a studio, and dragged through the mud over someone else's drama. And Hugh? Well, he's keeping his claws clean. So what do y'all think? Did Hugh Jackman do the right thing by staying out of the chaos? Or should he have shown some loyalty to his friend? Was Disney justified in firing Ryan? Or was this another cold corporate move to protect their brand at the cost of actual people? And Blake? Girl, is she the ride-or-die wife Ryan deserved? Or the quiet storm that brought it all crashing down? Let me know what you think, because this Hollywood drama, it's only getting started.
Here, I want to ask you about this avalanche of information that's coming out about Harvey Weinstein, because the question is, I mean, you're in the industry. How do you think Hollywood moves on from this point? How do you think it can seize this moment and turn it into something positive?
I think it's important that we acknowledge that this isn't just Hollywood. This is so much more global, and it's not just, oh, guess what? This is what's happening to women suddenly. This has been happening since the beginning of time, but now people are finally talking about it. And I think that that's what's important, is that where I never had experiences like this with Harvey myself. I only had positive ones with him, but that goes to show where, you know, you don't always see what's going on behind closed doors. So I think that when people come forward, that your bosses, you have to acknowledge it. You know, there have been moments where I've come forward, where other people have come forward with things that just feel little and you're not sure. But when your bosses tell you that this is not a priority to them, then you think, okay, well then this must not be that big of a deal. Maybe what I'm complaining about isn't really that big of a deal. And it is.
And you're right, that's every single workplace.
Yep.
And remember, when the cameras stop rolling, the real drama begins. Stay tuned.